Welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video, and in this video I will be showing you my Japanese Lego collection. What do I mean by that if you are new to the channel? Well, I work for Figuring Out Japan, and they sell Japanese figurines and collectibles, and so the majority of videos on this channel are actually about Japanese figurines and collectibles. But actually the reason why the YouTube channel of Figuring Out Japan exists is because of Lego Pirates, because I personally have always been a huge fan of Lego Pirates. And one day I was walking through a department store and saw the Brick Bounty set just by coincidence, and I looked up the set number and I saw all of these YouTube videos pop up of the set, and I was like, wow, that's really great, because when you sell things online, it's always hard to think about, well, how can you show the product best to people? And I thought, well, why aren't we doing that at Figuring Out Japan? And so that's why we started making videos for the figurines and collectibles. But then I realized that a lot of the vintage sets, even though there's a heck of a lot of videos on the new Lego sets, a lot of the vintage sets, there's very few videos even now out there of vintage Lego. And so I actually, I guess, took it upon myself to go back and review a lot of the vintage Lego sets. And I'm quite proud now to say that at least the first video, or a lot of videos now, exist of these fantastic sets from particularly the pirate theme. So, I have reviewed all of these sets and many, many more, so I'm not going to do that in this video. What I will do is just kind of, pan the camera around and show you guys what I have here, and just kind of maybe yabber about, maybe why I like these sets, and maybe some tips about how you can collect these sets yourself. So why Lego Pirates? Well, I don't really know, to be honest, but my best guess is that the very first Lego catalog I was shown from my father, in the opening page, it showed an amazing scene of the Black Seas Barracuda and the Caribbean Clipper, which is this set, fighting. And it really captured my imagination. I would literally just stare at the picture for like 30 minutes, just imagining the battle come alive in the image. I really wasn't interested in pirates themselves. As a kid, I actually quite hated the beach. So I think it really was Lego itself that really made me interested in the Lego Pirate series. I do have other Lego Pirate sets. I have the Black Seas Barracuda. I also have the El Dorado Fortress, and a couple of other sets as well that I have reviewed, which you can see, but they are at my parents' house on the other side of the world, so that's why they are not specifically here. As a kid, I didn't just have Lego Pirate. All these sets I really bought as an adult, because my parents just simply could not afford the sets as a child. If you actually look at the prices for the sets, inflated for adjusted for inflation, they were very, very expensive, even in today's money, well over like $300. So very, very expensive. That's why I didn't really have them as a kid. But I did have I had a reasonable amount of Lego as a kid. I wasn't deprived. But my parents would often buy like the sort of tubs of Lego, and it was second hand as well. So whenever I got a set, like a brand new set in box with instructions and everything, I remember I always treasured it very, very much, and I would build it exactly how the instructions said. I would even put the minifig on the exact studs that it showed them in the manual. So where have I bought these? So the majority of these sets I've actually bought in Japan. I bought a couple of them from secondhand stores. The others I have bought online. I think this one I bought overseas, and that is because it's actually so funny story. I thought it was custom, and I thought it actually really looks like a real set. And then I reviewed it, and somebody kindly left a comment and actually said that there was a Lego Ideas book and showing this set. So you could never buy it as a set with the pieces, but it was actually designed. It is kind of an officially designed Lego set. I was like, wow, cool. I had no idea. So that one I bought from overseas, and I also bought the Caribbean Clipper from overseas as well. But is Lego cheaper in Japan? It's hard to say. I think it maybe is, but it's pretty minimal because it's supply and demand. So even though Japan, compared to say the world, because if you see a Lego set on say eBay US, people from all around the world can buy it if the seller has international shipping. Whereas in Japan, it's kind of limited to Japan. But a set like this, you might have to wait 3 or 4 months for one to crop up online. And so when it does crop up, then everybody wants to buy it. So that's why it's quite expensive. But my big tip for you guys, if you are looking to buy Lego online, is if you go to some of the European secondhand sites, for example, eBay, then this video is not sponsored by eBay, by the way. But if you go to like eBay France or eBay Germany, then typically you can get much better deals because everybody's buying off like eBay US or eBay UK, but there's not that many people who actually go to those other sites like eBay France or Germany. So you can actually get some really good deals. And I actually got this one off eBay France, which is cool because this is actually meant to be the French Admiralty. And I probably got it for about half its market price, I reckon. It cost me a fortune in shipping because shipping is really expensive from France. But nonetheless, I was still able to get it for a reasonable price, and it was 100% complete. The other thing you can do is actually buy sets that don't have the box or the manual. So I actually do not have boxes for any of these sets except for the Skull's Eye Schooner. And the only reason I have it for the Skull's Eye Schooner is because it was so expensive to buy it. So what I actually did was I bought 2 auctions of 2 incomplete Skull's Eye Schooners, and actually one of them also had one of the big Islander sets with it. And so then I sold the Islander set and tried to make up some money that way, and then I combined the 2 incomplete sets to make one big complete set, and then sold the nearly complete, it was actually closer to complete than I thought, set, and do it that way. But to be honest, it still did cost me quite a lot, so I'm not convinced it ended up being cheaper that way. But anyway, that's another thing that you can do to try to save on cost. But just as an example, this set, which is by far the big one here, by far the most expensive that I paid, actually on the same day there was another one that sold, or around the same time, and yeah, it was actually the same day, and it sold for about $100 more, and the only difference was it had the box and the manual. So would you pay $100 for a box and a manual? I wouldn't, personally. So that is another way that you can save money. By the way, I put that there. It's not supposed to be. Yeah, that's another way that you can save cost. I mean, boxes are lovely to have, especially the vintage ones, but they just trust me, they just sit there in your cupboard for years and years. But yeah, I collected a lot of other themes as a kid. I actually have sold pretty much all of it, except for my pirate and Star Wars stuff, and that's helped me fund buying all this stuff. So I have some Star Wars sets. I also have a couple back home at my parents' place that I have also reviewed. I actually sold a couple recently, which is a bit sad, but just didn't have the room again. I live in Japan and just very tight room constraints in Japan, and ships take up a heck of a lot of room. So that's why I decided to sell those. But I am for now keeping this one because I absolutely loved Rogue One. My sister actually gave me those, so they're pretty cool. They're keyrings. Really love, and again, similar to Lego Pirate, I mean, I've always loved Star Wars. I've always been a big Star Wars fan, but I never really collected the figures and things like that. I never really got into that. But Lego Star Wars is just the perfect combination of two fantastic worlds, right? So yeah, how do I clean them and look after them? As you can see, they are extremely dusty. I think I've only cleaned them once, and basically I sort of put them in the bathroom and just washed them with like a pressure hose, and that actually worked relatively well. I know some people use air guns and things like that, but yeah, I think the water way, I think using a wet cloth or even just a normal cloth just doesn't really work. So I wouldn't really recommend that. But anyway, that's how I have done it. Some of you may also be wondering, the sets that I've reviewed in the past, why are they not in this video? I have either sold them or they are videos that I have done back at my parents' place. So they are on the other side of the world. But this, as of this moment in time, this is all of the Lego that I have. Actually, I do still have the Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle, which the original one that I am listing for sale. Love that set, but again, just room constraints, so that's why I've got that one. But if you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment down below, and either I or someone else can answer it. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched the videos. Some great comments, people saying, oh, I remember that set from my childhood, or oh, thank you for showing it, I didn't know that set existed for the younger kids. And as I said, there are stacks of videos that I've done in the past of Lego Pirate, of Lego Star Wars, and even some other really cool sets. Oh, I didn't talk about the Ferrari truck either, so I have the Lego Formula 1 Ferrari truck as well there. So thank you very much for watching, and yeah, please check out the reviews of all those sets. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.